What is going on, guys? So today we're going to be walnut blasting the intake valves on the 335. I can't reach that. If you saw from the first video, I think it's the first or second video on this car, whenever I did the oil filter housing gasket, intake valves on this car were extremely dirty. So I'm going to be walnut blasting them today. I got all this stuff for under $100. So let's just go ahead and go into what we're going to be using. So here's a blast media. This is going to be going in our blaster. Both of these I got from Harbor Freight. I believe this is $25, and it's the fine 24 grit. You don't want to go with the coarse grit on the intake valves. The portable blaster, that was like I want to say $30 or less. And then for this, I got this off of eBay. This is going to go onto the intake valve, and then I'm going to hook up the shop vac to this end, and this wand is going to go in this end and blast the walnut shells in. Vacuum's going to suck them out. So yeah, this I got off of eBay. It was like 15 bucks. It's just a little 3D printed piece. Keep in mind, if you're buying this, on my vacuum, I have a big nozzle on them. It's bigger than what this is, so I'm gonna have to find a way to adapt this onto there to make it work. We have masking tape for masking off the other 5 intake valves, because you're just gonna want to be working on one at a time. Flashlight, just so we can see down in there better. This wand is actually a BMW part. I actually got this off of eBay also. This is going to go onto the blast wand on the blaster, and that's what's going to be blasting into that little hole into the intake valve. So for the shop vac, I just have my shop vacuum here. It's a 6 horsepower, 8-gallon wet or dry vac. I have the inside completely cleaned out because I believe whenever you get the walnut shells in there, I believe you can reuse those, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes to go ahead and get all this stuff set up, get the blaster set up and filled up, get the vacuum hooked up to it. Oh, and also on the blaster, that wand, I believe that hooks up to our air compressor, which I have right over there. I'm going to be hooking that up to this, and that's what's going to be powering it all. So I'll be back in just a second, fixing to get everything all set up. Okay, so now that I sort of have everything out, here are these are actually crushed up walnut shells. They're not like literal full piece walnut shells. Let's see what those look like. It basically kind of looks like sand. So I'll go ahead and close that back up. Here is the blaster. There's the hopper. Here is the gun with the blaster gun with the specific attachment, the BMW part. Like I said, that's the part number. You need that. Here on the vacuum, I went ahead and I just taped this up. I've already tested it, turned on the vacuum and everything, and it sucks just fine. So yeah, now that we're fully set up, for those who don't know what a walnut blast is on these cars, so basically this is a direct injection car, meaning that the fuel sprays directly into the cylinder instead of onto the intake valves like a port injection car would. As you can see, there are the injectors. Here's the intake manifold. So the blow-by that comes from the turbos and excess oil and stuff, that gets cut down a lot by the catch can I have sitting back there. But what doesn't, like if you don't have a catch can, for example, all of that excess buildup gets onto the intake valves and it just clogs up over time. I'll probably go ahead and throw up a picture of what it looks like really bad, and I'll also show mine whenever we get around to it. So basically, just to do that, all you have to do is just take the intakes off. I believe take the charge pipe off, take the intake manifold off, and for this one, I'm not going to be using the remote starter. I know some people like to get the remote starter you plug onto the starter and it'll just turn the motor with the flick of a switch. I'm not going to be doing that because I don't want to accidentally start the car. I believe I've read something about somebody doing that before. So I'm actually just going to be taking the fan off and then putting a large socket onto the crank bolt and then just turning the engine by hand, so that way I can just, you know, turn and open and close the intake valves. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on disassembling all of this stuff so we can go ahead and see what we're looking at. Take a look at all the 6 valves, or 12 valves I mean, that we can see. Should only just be a few seconds for y'all. I'm just going to put you guys on time lapse while I take all of this stuff apart. Guys, okay, so we got the intake manifold off, and I took the throttle body off also. Check this out. Let's see if I can get this light to focus in there. That's pretty oily. Yeah, so they all look like that. There's no point in going through each individual one. They all look like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this fan out so we can go ahead and start turning the crank and getting those valves to open and close to where we need them to be. Okay, so now that I have the fan off, I'm gonna go ahead and just go down there, put a socket on the crank bolt and just start turning it so I can go ahead and get all of this cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and get those rotated and then start cycling through each cylinder, getting the valves closed, and then start walnut blasting them. Okay, so now I've got the valves closed on that cylinder. All the other ones are taped off. Charge pipe is taped off so I don't get anything in there. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the hopper. I'm gonna go ahead and fill that up with the walnut shells and then get everything hooked up and get started blasting. Okay, our blaster is filled up, so all I got left to do is just to hook everything up to the air compressor and the vacuum, and I'll go ahead and get started blasting. Been blasting for a little while now, so here's the result. I don't know, yeah, you can see that if I can get it to focus. Much cleaner than what it was. Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up and do the other 5 valves. Alright guys, so I finished up the walnut blast. Car seems to be running just fine. It is kind of late. I had some trouble with my blaster I was having to get help on. But yeah, no check engine light and everything's running fine. I'm fixing to go test drive it. And unless I'm making this video into 2 parts, like a 2-day video, then this video is over and I'm out.